So to start off the fourth round, of course, the Raiders have 2 picks in the fourth round thanks to trading back multiple times in the second round. But the Raiders go and double dip at the wide receiver position, selecting Dante Thornton Jr., wide receiver out of Tennessee, with the 108th overall pick. One word that describes him is speed. And trust me, Al Davis will be looking down at this pick and will be smiling, because this is the prototypical Al Davis pick. You know, he was all about speed. And not only does the Raiders get somebody that can run fast, but he also has that size to match that as well. That size and athleticism, man. 6'5", 200 plus pounds, running a 4.340 at the NFL Combine. Oh my goodness. Now, I really do love this pick by the Raiders. I know that we didn't really need another wide receiver at this point, but hey, I feel like Pete Carroll, John Spytek, they want to give Geno Smith as much weapons as they can at this point in time, so he has no excuse to go out there and ball out. I mean, we're adding him to a wide receiver room and, pairing him up with Jack Bech, who we picked up in the second round. It just adds more weapon to this team. Thornton is definitely one of those players that can be a great contributor to the team if he does meet his potential. You're looking at an explosive receiver with vertical threat, an athletic receiver that can beat you down deep. Another great trait about him is that he could take any catch to the house. He could take those short slants and take it down to the house as well. I know the only thing that he really needs to work on is his route running, and his route tree is kind of limited right now, but he could get that cleaned up in the NFL and in the right system and with the right coaches, which I feel like he has over here in Las Vegas. He can be a great receiver for the Raiders. And on top of that, it just adds more depth to the room right now, and he does have some upside, so you can't really be mad at this pick. The Raiders are addressing the offensive side of the ball as much as they could. Heck, yesterday we ended off day 2 with 2 offensive linemen to help out with the offensive side of the ball. Let me see. I don't know if we drafted a defensive player at all yet. Oh wait, I lied to you guys. We drafted Darian Porter yesterday, cornerback. But outside of that, everything has been focused on the offensive side of the ball. From Ashton Genty to Jack Bech to getting the 2 offensive linemen yesterday. So I'm really excited about this offense moving forward. Back to Thornton though. He began his college career at Oregon before transferring to Tennessee for his final 2 seasons. In 2024, he led the Volunteers in receiving with 661 and touchdowns with 6 on just 26 receptions, averaging an impressive 25.4 yards per catch. His ability to stretch the field was evident, with multiple receptions exceeding 50 yards, including an 86-yard touchdown against Vanderbilt. Dante has the most yards per catch in Tennessee history, also leads the team in yards per catch and touchdowns this past season, and also has the longest receiving touchdown in UT history. He showcased his athleticism at the NFL Combine by running a 4.340 yard dash, one of the fastest times recorded, and also recorded a 33-inch vertical leap and a 10.6 broad jump. Like I said earlier, I love this move for the Raiders. I love this selection. A great weapon to add to the offensive side of the ball, and he's going to be one of those guys that you gotta keep your eye on this season, especially during training camp and OTAs. And if there's something that Pete Carroll has preached since he got hired by the Raiders, is competing and competition, and he's going to bring that to this wide receiver room. We already have Jacoby Myers, who I feel like is going to be a lock for a starting position, but outside of him, anybody could start. I mean, we got Jack Bech, of course. Of course, we got Trey Tucker. Now we got Dante Thornton Jr. And then we have a fluctuation of other wide receivers that are on the roster right now. And I still feel like the Raiders are going to address the wide receiver position with the undrafted free agents that are out there. So we'll have to wait and see what the team does moving forward. Now, one question that I do have going into the second, 4th round pick is the Raiders going to address the quarterback position? I hope that they do. I know Shedeur Sanders is still on the board, but at this point, I don't even know if the Raiders are going to select him. But overall, I'll say that I do love this pick. I love the fact that the Raiders are picking players that are not just left field. They're picking players that they feel like can add to the team. And Thornton definitely seems like a person that's going to add to this team for the long run. But Raider Nation, let me know your thoughts on Dante Thornton Jr. in the 4th round with the 108th overall pick. What are your thoughts? Do you love the move? Do you hate the move? What grade would you give this move? Let me know down in the comments below. Now, with the 135th pick in the 4th round, the second pick for the Raiders in the 4th round, the Raiders did not get a quarterback. They ended up selecting defensive tackle TONKA Hemingway out of South Carolina. Now, Hemingway is an undersized defensive tackle prospect with a change of direction, active hands, and motor to get to the quarterback. He mixes an effective spin move that can push the pocket between the tackles. Hemingway gives ground to doubles and combo blocks, but he's stout for his size and can hold his ground one-on-one defending the run. He presses blockers off his frame, locates the ball, and gets off the block. His constant performance and ability to disrupt plays made him a valuable asset for the Gamecocks defense, and he looks to bring his talents over here to Las Vegas. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this is probably the first pick that the Raiders have made so far in this draft that I'm not really excited about. This is a guy that I felt like could have fell down later on in the draft. But again, if the Raiders like him that much to get him here, then that goes to show that they probably have something in store for him. I really wanted to get a quarterback at this position, whether it was Shedeur or anybody else, but, you know, shout out to Shedeur. He ended up going to the Browns. But I know that the Raiders needed to address the defense side of the ball sometime. I think the only defensive player that we had so far in this draft was Darian Porter. Now we add Tonka to that mix. I do understand that he does feel need for this team and provide some depth to the defensive tackle room, and he could definitely help bring some pressure off of the defensive line. Now, don't look for him to be a starter anytime soon, but he could be a contributor some way, somehow on the defensive side of the ball. Now, in his 5 seasons, he's played in over 60 games, totaling 107 tackles, 9.5 sacks, 6 fumble recoveries, 7 pass breakups, 6 quarterback hurries, and 4.5 tackles for loss. One thing's for sure with this move is the fact that Tonka, just like everybody else that got selected by the Raiders, is going to have a chance to compete. And if he goes out there in training camp and OTAs and shows out, and even in preseason, you never know if he could start. I know there's going to be a lot of questions going into the season with Christian Wilkins and his health, whether or not he's going to be playing or missing some time. So it's good to add a player like Tonka to the team. I'm never really going to say that a player's going to be bad, but I can easily say that I didn't want him over here. But at the end of the day, the Raiders right now don't have a pick until the 6th round because we traded away that 5th round pick. So we're going to have to wait and see what the Raiders are going to do. And I'm really interested in finding out when and if the Raiders are going to address the quarterback position and also maybe even the linebacker position. But with that said, so far, I've been liking most of the moves that the Raiders have been making. So even with this move, I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to trust this team. I just hope that we finish out the draft real strong. And I'm honestly just excited for the undrafted free agents that we could bring in to this team. But Raider Nation, let me know your thoughts on Tonka Hemingway. Do you guys like this move? Do you feel like it was a bit of a reach? And what quarterback do you see the Raiders selecting sometime in the draft? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below.